What's good, everybody, here in Chicago? Spawn on Me. We're here at Compulsion Games here in Montreal, Canada, hanging out with some of the dopest folks you're about to meet who worked on South of Midnight. Shout out to y'all for a fantastic performance and all the work you get a chance to do.
Thank you.
Nona Parker Johnson, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Adrian Ray, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
My best, how are you doing?
Sexy.
As always, beautiful, brother. Bald and beautiful. That's the way we do it here on Spawn on Me. So getting a chance to check out all the work that you all did in the game so far, I'm just blown away by so many different aspects of it. And one of the things I kind of came away with the initial conversation for me was, it's a really interesting dynamic between you two, right? It's kind of like the body and the brain of one character, right? Which is kind of dope. Like, you've done the motion capture parts of it in kind of the larger ways, and also you have done some mocap in that space too for Hazel. What is the dynamic between you two of getting a chance to kind of mold together and mash together to make this one character so cool? What was the conversations between you two for that work?
Well, let's start with the backstory. So the backstory was, I auditioned and I was working with Ahmed and I got the role of Hazel.
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, you're going to shoot. And I was like, okay, great. And then I think maybe like 3 days before I went to Montreal to shoot, I found out I was having a baby.
Ah.
Yes. So I did the first one and we did our sessions, and then they were like, well, you might be a little too big to be jumping around as Hazel. And Nona, I had worked with Nona on the accent. We had worked together on the accent before. And you want to take it from here?
Yeah, sure. So I met Adrian via the dialect work that we did together. So I had already known that she was doing this incredible project, and she was already had so much, like, in terms of the voice and in terms of discovering who this character was. She, like, bare bones had already started, like, ground up work for this character. And then I find out that they're looking for somebody to body double for the motion capture, performance capture. And I auditioned for that, and they're looking to hire local perhaps, and they go with me, and I go up to Montreal for my first mocap session as well, ever. And from there, it was mostly...
Don't even be modest.
What do you mean?
Don't even be modest.
Modesty is not, we don't need modesty here.
I stepped in
And did the thing.
in the shoes of some really incredible work,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of support and was really excited, and just to be able to jump into a project this wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think from there it was kind of just hearing what makes the transition easiest, what makes it the most seamless, and trying to do my best to do what I can from there. But ultimately I had Ahmed, I had Adrian tell me I was doing good work, and telling me to continue to do the work I was doing, and to keep pushing and doing what I was doing with Hazel, and just praying that it was serving the wonderful work that she was going to be doing in the booth as well.
As you've seen in this, she killed it.
Amazingly humble at the work. Of course, because again, like, and I think that kind of leans into your work on that is the fact that, you know, you're helping to guide, you know, these amazing actresses with the work that you get a chance to do, and especially, you know, one of the, you know, reasons why our show exists is because to share the reasons and spotlight dope Black folks who have been in this space and doing this kind of work. And hearing that you've been doing, you know, PCAP for 30 years is wild and amazing. And it's great. What was it like to be able to continue to bring that excellence across with these amazing actresses?
Well, I mean, they made it very easy.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time I was just staying out of the way and letting them be fabulous. But performance capture has come a long way since I first started, you know, and, you know, when I did it, it was actually just being invented. So it didn't, it's really good to see actually that all of the things that I helped create in this whole performance capture world have become, you know, kind of nomenclature for the art form. Yeah. And, you know, when I was first doing it, everything was a question mark. We didn't even know whether or not it was going to work. And, you know, I remember, a lot of the animation people in episode 1 of The Phantom Menace, they would just like quit the day before or something, because George would be like, I need you to do this, and they'd be like, nope, can't do it, can't do it. And then they would take the evening and figure it out and go, maybe we can do it. And then they would all come to me sheepishly going, can you do that?
Right.
And I'd be like, yeah, sure. So it really was the collaboration that created this industry, and to be able to come back and direct it now, 30 years later, and see all of the advancements that, it used to take us days to do, now it takes minutes.
Yeah.
And it was really wonderful to be a part of that. Also, like, not only is directing both of these women a joy, but it was also good to see Black folks doing this kind of work, because there aren't a lot of Black people in this space, and there are not, especially not a lot of Black directors. And it was very important to me that we had actors, not just like performance capture. People don't really look at motion capture and performance capture as like acting, right? But it is. It really is. And as much as I was like at the beginning of it, like Andy Serkis was really the guy who made it acting, right? Because he just had so many opportunities to do this, and he fought for it to be acting. So much so that he got nominated for an Oscar. So it was important for me that when we cast Hazel, we cast actors and not like body people, right? Because I just don't think that exists. I think everybody who does performance capture is performing. And when you see the performance on animation, you can see the person who did it. So it was really important for me that would happen. It was important for me that they were Black women too. Because, a lot of companies don't think that way. They're just like, well, just get a body. And then we'll put a Black person over the body. And Compulsion was actually like, no, because that translates, the behavior translates, the body motion translates, how you stand at rest, how you stand in motion, all translates. So all of the major characters in this game are all Black people, and they all bring that authenticity to their performance and to themselves.
Yes, good look. Knees up. Collapse. Struggle.
The challenge is really the fact that a character like Hazel in a game like this hasn't really been done before, and it hasn't been done in a way that really brings to light what it is like to be a young Black woman in this time period with these challenges and the complexities that come with that.
I think one of the things that came through that I was, initially before coming to the studio, and I was a big fan of what I got a chance to see in the trailers, and I was like, Compulsion's from Canada. There is potentially some space here for some misalignment when it comes to authentic Blackness in the conversation. But it feels like you kind of chiming in with that and sharing those points. But it feels like the way that you two have embodied this character, there is so much of you within this as well that is coming through with every layer of it. I'd love to hear you talk about just like what it's been like to kind of like pull this character together with this story and really kind of embody it.
Pulling it together with this story. So what was interesting is we did lots of calls and Zooms and things like that, and they were going over some of the creatures. And I remember I had recently, my family's from North Carolina, and there's Gullah Geechee culture and things like that. And I remember, I was like, wait a minute. You mean of this? They had different names, but I hadn't heard of it before. So it was like, oh, and it's interesting because I can say that I pulled from it, but also like it was so aligned with me and my, I'm very much a person that stands for healing and self-love and learning about yourself and growth. And that's the journey of Hazel. And then the creatures, I had heard of them before, and Hazel's very close to her mother. I'm super close to my mother. So I don't know if I and I don't know the balance of if I pulled or if it was aligned to me,
Sure.
but it all just aligned so much with her journey and me that it came really effortlessly.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons that I knew this was a role for me to do.
Yeah.
It just, when it falls into when it feels like a skin is what I call it.
Yeah.
When it feels like a skin, then it's yours to do.
Yeah, I think what I continue to see with every piece that we saw, not only the documentary, but the pieces of the gameplay that kind of come through, it is those small nuances, right? And it makes me happy to see, like, again, this setting is one that we don't get a chance to see at all in gaming.
Are there any games with female black
Like
leads?
Infamous, well, there's one. You know, like one game, but that's a white dude who's in New Orleans, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? He's probably on Bourbon Street now, still doing this thing. But it's that feeling of this feels like a part of the culture in a way that resonates in the fullest ways. We had a fun moment in the cafeteria about like good cussing, right?
Good
like
cussing.
like that's an authentic thing of like, you know, and it's a part of the matrix of the gaming industry. Like, you know, if you're a black player and you've played games forever, you can instantly pick up VO and be like, there ain't no black people in that booth.
That's right.
And
Yes.
we talk about that all the
Yes.
time as
That's right.
as a conversation of being like, you could have got somebody black to do that, because we know. We know instantly when those
It's
things don't
something
align.
in our voice.
It's absolutely it is, and
I
it's
don't know.
it's a kinship. It's a part of all of those things, and I feel like Compulsion is doing really well with that. And it feels like it comes through not only in your performance, but especially in your performance too, because you're embodying a lot of the motion of this character in this world. And there are those small nuances of like, you know, there was an idle animation of just swatting away this mosquito, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Like that's a moment in that space that's like pulling those tidbits together. That's really important. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know we have to wrap up in a second, but like,
For sure.
talk about that for me, because I think that's really important.
Yes, idols. Mike, who worked on that, was really incredible. He was really, really detailed. I was in there, and he just would throw things at me,
Yeah.
and I'd be okay. He'd say dance. I try to do a little Mohead Sweat. He'd say, you know, I'm talking to different creatures and characters in the story, and I think for me a big thing that brought me home for it was like small terms of endearment.
Yeah.
I'm the friend. Everybody's like, why do you say that? I always say, oh, hey, Bug, don't do that, don't do that. And they're like, what is that? What's Bug? And I'm like, I just grew up hearing that, and it's like, it's so sweet and it's so endearing, and there's just it can apply to anything, anyone. So I think it's little stuff like that you know, you get these prompts, and then your experience just kind of, it just comes to you.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be all throughout the game.
Yeah, and it feels like all of those parts are married together in this world really, really well. I'm sad I can't keep y'all for longer. Oh man, there's so many things. We didn't get a chance to sing the Good Times theme.
I know, but
We-
I just want to say also, Ahmed
Yeah.
was just so crucial in applying those things.
Yeah.
Because he allowed us that freedom to put that in there, and what a wonderful director he is. It's been such a joy to work with
I'm gonna
you.
steal another 30 seconds. Talk a little bit about that really quick though, because I think that's important. And that's a part of, again, I love the fact you talked about being a person who's been in this space and now having this kind of role. And how important that is to be able to convey those things to the folks that you're working with, and that doesn't feel forced, right? It feels immediately connected. Talk to me about that really quick.
Yeah, I mean, what was really good is the openness of Compulsion to listen, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're just speaking into the void and nothing happens, it really doesn't matter, does it? Like, you know, the fact that Compulsion was just like, no, this is what we want.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to be me, you know? And that comes with, you know, a certain amount of, we got to get this right. So, again, it was really about making sure that the little black girls and everybody who's black is playing this game goes, yes, those are, you know, people I know, people I grew up with, my friends, my family, my cousins, my uncles, my aunties, my grandmas, right? That for me was what I was always making sure that we had, you know, and we would always do the check-in, like, are we doing this right?
Yeah.
You know, and if we all gave the nod, we went forward with it. And even if, you know, sometimes, you know, folks in the team didn't understand what we were doing, right? They didn't get it.
Yeah.
And we were just like, you have to trust us because
Yeah.
this is the culture that we're trying to put forth in this game.
Yeah.
And to see them trust us and have it translate into what we've seen has been just phenomenal. And it means the world.
Well, I just want to go ahead. I'm
Special
sorry.
about having a director who can look into the booth and say, "Hey, put a little auntie swag on that."
Yeah.
And I know he's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I know what he's talking about. And
Yeah.
then I did it. He's like, exactly. Next take.
I was about to say that part because I didn't run hurdles in high school.
Yeah.
And he had me jumping hurdles
Oh,
in the
see?
studio. You ran hurdles?
I ran hurdles.
I ran the 400, and he had me doing hurdles, so he was on point.
Yes.
You much better than I because I can't run to the stove. I can't run without losing myself. I just want to say before we go, again, thank you all for the care that you brought to these characters. Thank you for being a person who's continued to stay in this industry and give folks like myself and other folks a place to say, like, that's where I need to go.
Legend.
And it makes me so happy to see that you all have continued to make such dope art with the work that you do, and especially having it in this space. Grits, how do you like them? Quickly.
Savory.
Butter.
Cheese.
See, you can't ask other people that question. They don't know. They have no real question. They have no answers for that.
Grits.
They'll be like,
With eggs.
See-
With scrambled eggs.
see,
You put it all together?
see,
I don't like my food to
Scrambled
touch.
I like shrimp and grits.
see.
Shrimp and grits, yes.
Yeah.
See?
Yes.
That's- much love to all you at home in Chicago, and that's for Spawn on Me. We'll talk to you more about more of the goodness that we have here at Compulsion Games very, very soon. Much love to y'all. Peace.